In this video, we will solve a tricky SQL interview question. First, we will go through the question. Then we will see both the tables, like the intended table and what the table is supposed to be. And then we will try to solve the query step by step. So our question is, employee A is asked to compute the average salary of all employees from the employee salary table. So this is a pretty simple question, like simply finding the average salary of all employees from an employee salary table is pretty simple. But there is specific problem with the table. That is what we are going to see. After he created the table, he realized that the 0 key in his keyboard is not working after the result showed a very less average. So he wants to find out the actual average and the difference between miscalculated average and actual average. But the problem with the table is that whenever he was entering data, since the 0 key in the keyboard was not working, the salary table, in the salary column, none of the salary is having 0. So it has created some problem. So let us see what is the input table, and then I will explain the question once again. So I have created a table for the question. So we have a employee salary table with 3 columns, employee ID, name and salary, and I'm inserting some data into the table, and these commands will be provided in the description so that you can go ahead and practice the question. Let me query the table, and then let me explain the question once again. So this is our input table, so which has 3 columns. The first column is employee ID, the second is name, and the third column is salary. Let me go back to the question once again. So in the question it is given that after he created the table, then he realized that the 0 key in the keyboard was not working after he find the average from the salary table, employee salary table. So let us find an average. So here finding the employee salary average from this table is pretty simple. So select average salary as average salary from employee salary table. Now let me run the query. So this is what he has done. So he found the average salary and found that the average salary is so much low, which is 53. Ideally, the salary should have been a 5-digit integer. So it is given, a condition is given that the salary is a 5-digit integer. So this salary average is wrong because it is 53. Ideally, it should have been a 5-digit integer. Then he came back to the table and saw what is happening with the table. That time he found that none of the salary from the employee salary table is having 0 because his keyboard was malfunctioning and none of the zeros have been appended to the salary. And also we are assuming one more condition here, that is all the zeros will be appended to the end of the salaries, which means none of the zeros will be in between the numbers. For example, if I take 108 won't be a valid condition here. The valid salary would have been 1800, which is 18,000. For the record for 23400 will be a valid salary, not 20304. So that is also one condition we are assuming for this question. Then the question is, he want to find the actual average and difference between miscalculated average and the actual average. That is the question. So I have created a sample input table that we are supposed to have and the actual input table that we are having. So our first task is to convert this input table into this table, which has the salary in the right format, which is a 5-digit integer and zeros have been appended to the salary. So this is our first task. For that, let us start writing the query. So we have the input table and now we want to append different number of zeros to different salaries. So that is what first we are going to do. First let me select star from employee salary table. So I'm taking everything from employee salary table. Next thing is I'm going to convert this salary into a string, because when we created the table, this employee salary is considered as an integer, so that I'm converting it to a string so that we can go ahead and apply string functions onto the salary column so that we can append different number of zeros to salary. So I'm using convert function, convert into variable character. I'm giving a length of 50 and the column which I am going to convert is salary, and I am giving name as salary string. So this column is salary as a string. So once I run the query, we'll get the same input table along with one more column, that is salary string. But the difference is that this is an integer salary, but this salary string is a variable character column, that is a string column. Now we want to find the number of strings or the number of characters in the salary string column. For that we are going to use the length string function, that is length of, we can copy this same query till here because we have converted that column into string, length of salary. Now if I run the query, we will get the length of each salary string. So here 156 it's 3, 18 it's 2, 4 1, similarly we will get that. And now going back to our condition, it's given that our salary is having 5-digit integer, that is it is a 5-digit integer, so 5 is fixed, so every salary will be having a character length of 5. So we want to find the number of zeros which we want to append to that particular salary. For that we'll create a small arithmetic function which is 5 minus the length of the particular string. Then we will get the number of zeros which we want to append to the salary column as 0 length. Now if I run this query, we will get one more new column which is called 0 length, which tells how many number of zeros we want to append to this salary string, so that we will get a 5-digit integer salary. Now we got the particular 0 length. Now we are going to use another string function which is replicate. Inside the replicate we can give two arguments. The first argument is the expression or the value which we are going to replicate, which basically means the expression which is going to repeat, and the number of times 0 to 0 should repeat or replicate is the 0 length. So I am copying this expression as 0 concat. I am giving a name 0 concat. Now if I run this query, I will get the number of zeros which have been replicated depending upon the 0 length column. So here it is 2, here it is 3, here it is 4. Now what we can do is we can concat this salary string column and 0 concat column. Now after this concat, what we can do is this salary string column, comma, and this replicate column we can concat as actual salary. Now we have the actual salary as a string. So we have the employee ID, name, the input salary, and now we have the actual salary. We can actually eliminate all these steps because all these columns have been created only to get this actual salary column. So after this we can put this query inside a CTE, that is with T1 as, then select. Now we want to find the actual average salary, average of. Now we want to convert this actual salary string into a integer. The column is actual salary, copy, close the bracket, as actual average from T1. Now if I run the query, I should get the actual average salary. Now we have the actual average salary, which is the correct average salary for the employees, that is 26,800. If you remember, initially we got the average salary was 53. Now when we compare the two values, there is much difference. Now the first part we have solved. Now that is, he wanted to find out the actual average. Actual average we have found. Now the second part is to find the difference between miscalculated average and actual average. So we have the actual average. Now we will now calculate the miscalculated average, that is the wrong average with the actual input table. Now we will put this also inside a CTE, T2S, comma, select average salary from employee salary. Also we will give the name as wrong average salary. For simplicity we will keep this also inside a CTE because later on it will be very easy for us to read the query and understand the logic what actually we have done. We can actually combine all this query into a single one and all, but it is better that we keep it separately. And now we'll keep this inside a CTE T3. So in T2 we have the average actual salary. In T3 we have the wrong average salary. Now we want to find the difference between actual average salary and the wrong average salary. So select T2 dot actual average minus T1 dot wrong, not T1, it's T3. There is a mistake. It's T3 dot wrong average salary from T2 comma T3. Now ideally we should get the answer. Let me run the query and let us see what we are getting. So now we have the difference, that is 26,747. So that is the difference between the actual average salary and the wrong average salary. Also we will give a name to this result, so as difference. So that is the difference between actual average and wrong average salary. So we will get to solve similar questions during interviews. I have solved it in a very simple manner so that it is easy to understand, and a lot of concepts I have covered in this videos, like counting the length of a string, then using replicate function, then concatenating multiple strings, then using 3 CTEs, then finally we have done a cross join. Similarly, a lot of concepts also we have covered in this video. Thank you for watching, and if you like the video, subscribe the channel. Thank you.